Hi, and welcome to Volunteers in Action. I'm Kathleen Goneau with the Marlborough Junior Women's Club, and I'm here with a couple of my club friends.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Young.
Hi, I'm Denise Ryan.
And Alison Conlin.
Ladies, we are here tonight to do a little discussion about projects. And what's interesting is all of us have been involved in many projects, and the juniors have done hundreds of projects in the community. So one of the things that I know to be true is that we cannot accomplish anything without having committees and focus and collaboration. Would you guys agree with that?
Definitely.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So I got to thinking, what is the first committee that you ever served on? Like, what was your first job?
Well, I've been a member for about 17 years, and the first project I remember helping out on was the Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, geez, that's an old one. I think there's footage of that too here at
my
the
goodness,
station.
yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah. And what did you do? What was your first?
So I was really new to the club, and I came to help set up and help with decorating that night.
Yeah.
And that's how I really got to know some of the club members too.
Yeah, and for me, it was the we used to do Breakfast with Santa Claus. Oh. That was even older, years ago. So we've done some really creative projects. How about you, Elizabeth?
So my first interaction with Marlborough Juniors was I joined, and our Ways and Means chair was going on a maternity leave. And so I was asked to sort of step in.
Oh my goodness. So you just went right for the top.
I did. And that really just sort of threw me right into the fire, but I had to organize a comedy night at the Moose. And now our comedy nights have evolved into our trivia nights, and our upcoming trivia night is on April 5th at the Elks.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't realize we've been doing that long.
We have been. So we started with comedy nights and bringing in local comedians, and then it just evolved with the times into a trivia night, which is very popular now.
Yeah. How about you, Allison? You're our newest member here.
I did. I joined right before COVID. So,
fun time.
Fun times. You know, those times when you want to be doing things and we really couldn't be doing a lot. The first thing that I joined was Trunk or Treat. And so setting up Trunk or Treat, helping some of the cars figure out where they were parking and getting the games set up for all of the kids that were coming.
Yeah, Trunk or Treat's one of those projects that does have a lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah. So I'm curious, we've had many different kinds of projects. Where do we get the inspiration for our projects? Where do you think that comes from?
Well, I think some of our inspiration comes from newer members coming in like Allison and bringing ideas that maybe other family members that they have that live around the country or in different school systems that say, hey, we do this event, and it's really, really popular. So sometimes we steal ideas from others.
Yeah, the Trunk or Treat, I think that was something we saw on Facebook.
Yeah, I think definitely like being involved in other volunteer organizations, you get to see what are they working on, and seeing how we can kind of incorporate something similar and make it work for our club and our community.
Sometimes it's people coming in and saying that they want help with something.
Yeah, sometimes it is something from the community that someone in the community has come to us and said, we need help with this. Certainly any of our clothing drives and things like that have stemmed from somebody raising their hand, for sure.
I know last year our conservation committee noticed that the city wasn't collecting Christmas trees anymore. We're also used to throwing our Christmas tree at the curb, and the city would come by and pick it up, and they weren't going to be doing that anymore. So we started doing the Christmas tree collection, and we're continuing to do that again this year.
That's awesome. And are you still doing that now?
We are. So if anybody still needs their Christmas tree picked up, feel free to email us. We have a dedicated email address for people who want their tree picked up. It's 01752. treepickup@gmail.com, and we will pick up your tree for $20, and all that money goes right back into club to support other other community activities.
Yeah, we should mention that all the money we do collect comes back to the community. It's not like we, have a huge fund or budget. It's very slim.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite projects, though, was in the schools. And I think that's kind of how I first learned about juniors, was with the sensory walks that were
So let's talk about that project.
Elementary schools.
Because that project really needed collaboration. Not only the idea stemmed from one of our members, I think, but the idea did come from the school need. Mm-hmm. And then we had to collaborate with the schools to accomplish that project.
Right.
Were you on that committee? No.
I wasn't even a member then.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
But
you remember
that's just
that.
like one of the community projects that you guys did that kind of put it in my head with that idea of, wow, they're doing really great things. And
Yeah.
with those great things, I wanted to be involved. And juniors was a way to get involved and to start doing rather than just sitting and wishing that somebody else would.
Right. That was a great heart project too.
And it was great too because it didn't just go to one school. We actually put it in 3 of the elementary schools. We're still working on that 4th one, but
Yeah.
and having that sensory path in the schools is such a great thing. Working in an elementary school, I see the benefit of that. We don't have one at my school, but we have something a little similar, and it must be great for the kids at the school.
Yeah. Some other projects we've done where do they come from?
Well, we have done several things at the senior center. There was a point in time when we had held an art auction, and we had a large grant, and we decided to sort of give money to the senior center to be able to start their own art projects if they wanted to. There was a camera class that our seniors could take. There was a watercolor painting class. And I remember we were able to sort of donate about $2,000, and it lasted for several years for them.
Yeah.
And, that was something that came out of, well, we do a lot of things with the schools, but we wanted to start to advance more with our seniors, with our veterans. And so different projects have started to come out. But that was one that really came out of that art auction.
Yeah, and you know what just dawned on me is that a lot of our projects stem from not only the need in the community, but a place of where can we bring happiness to someone. And the senior thing, I totally forgot about that. That was a great project.
Another project that we did for several years with Countryside Village was in the summer. We had we took the books that they had to read with school, so their summer reading books, and we had the children write an essay or sort of describe a scene from within a book, and they had a contest, and whoever won was able to have, it was a room makeover. So when we talk about where do we get our ideas, it was from the TV show,
Right.
Home Makeover,
Yeah.
and I think we did three different summers.
Yep, we did.
3 different young children, their rooms, a ballerina room, a family room, different rooms in Countryside Village.
And that too was collaborating with the management at Countryside Village and the family. So it takes a lot of moving parts when you're finding projects. We do get a lot of our projects from TV.
like Deal or No Deal.
Dancing with the Stars. Yeah. So inspiration comes from all places, but really it comes from the different members that we have and where their passion is. So I think the first thing to start a project is to have some passion. So once we have that passion and we want to lead a project, how do we find or how do we convince members that it's a worthy project? We got a new idea and we want to...
I think for me, it's when you see that passion with that member who's presenting the idea and what they want. There's such a diversity of the women in the group that usually you will find somebody that has an interest in that as well. And so you end up sort of feeding off of each other and watching that grow.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. There is a little bit of a skill in pitching your idea to convince others that they want to play and do that, whether it's a small project or a large project. Yeah. And we've had some really small things. I know I did Sheets for Survivors, and it was my daughter and I. It was a small fundraiser. We raised a few $1,000s. And we just shared it in social media, and we submitted that for state and actually won an award for that project. And it was a very small, intimate project for domestic violence. So, and then we have big things like Princess Boutique.
Yes, Princess Boutique is probably one of our largest events that we've been doing consistently now for over a decade.
So lots of committees within committees for projects like that. So It's not just one, it's groups of projects. So once we have the members interested that we're going to do this, what does a committee do? Because we have different ways to do a committee meeting, right? I mean, school committee meetings are very formal, but that's not how most people get things done in the volunteer world. What have been the most successful committees that you've been on?
For me, I'm a planner, so I like to be the one like how are we going to do this? What's the map of how it's
Right.
going to get done? And then sometimes I don't even feel like I'm really on a committee. Like it's just like, oh, I'm just helping out. I'm going to do this, but then you realize, oh, guess I was part of that committee because I did help. But
Or you're
sometimes I
leading the committee, right?
but I don't even realize it because it's fun and you're doing something you want to do. So.
Right.
Like sometimes I feel like when you hear like, oh, you're on a committee, that it's almost like it's work or it's your job. But
I do think there's a stigma on committee.
I feel like it sounds like it's work.
Yeah.
But I think we're able to choose projects just because we're a member of the club doesn't mean you have to participate in every activity or committee, but you participate in the things that interest you. And even if you just show up the day of the event, like you're still helping out the club and being part of, whatever it is what we're doing.
Yeah, I love the fact, I didn't love COVID, but I love the fact that COVID brought in Zoom meetings because I think that really helped us to expedite some committee meetings because the time factor. Many people in the club, working women, so it's really hard sometimes to find that little bit of time.
Yeah.
And Zoom allows us to do that. So I think that's the positive thing that came out of COVID was our ability to communicate on Zoom. And then there's been some negative things.
Right. I think one of the negatives about COVID that we all saw was obviously that disconnect with the community itself. And so I
Yeah.
always think about now there was sort of that 1 or 2 year break with volunteerism, especially when you think of our schools, town sports, other community groups. There wasn't that natural handover when folks have maybe graduating out from someplace and they handed it down,
Right.
or someone was moving or whatever. We had this sort of this
stop.
this stop for 2
Right.
years, and now you can see across the community where there are holes, and at some point folks have to start to think about, well, I really need to step up because otherwise we're going to feel the effects of it in 5 and 10 years. So that's really the biggest downside, I think, from COVID was that break in that community building.
Yeah, Alison, did you feel compelled when you joined around that time to do something to help the community? Is that really what caused you?
At that time, I was looking for a place to go to meet more people. I wanted to make new friends,
Yeah.
and I wanted friends that were interested in helping, friends that were part of a community.
Right.
And Juniors is a community. There wasn't a particular project that I'm super passionate about. I didn't join Juniors because I really want to do something in particular.
And I think that's interesting because a lot of women do join because of our Princess Boutique or our trivia night or a vendor night. They've experienced a particular project that we've implemented and they've joined because of that project. And then they come to find out, oh, they do these other things that they didn't realize we were involved in.
I think for me, I just like doing things. Like I remember tying blankets for babies one time. Trying to think of the other things that we've done. Sometimes it's at a meeting when we're doing things like the smaller projects. And other times it's, hey, put a sign out in your yard
Yeah.
type stuff.
So here's a question. What have you learned about yourself in being a volunteer and doing committee work?
That's a very good question to ask because I think it's something that everyone always needs to everyone I think always needs to reflect back on why they've participated in something and sort of what drew them to wanting to make a difference or create something. And I think for me, what I've learned is that folks from all different backgrounds and interests can come together and be part of a club, not have to be necessarily best friends, but we all have the same vision and reason for being there. We want to contribute back to the community. We want to do something for Marlborough and Hudson, which are our 2 core towns that we do really focus on. And so everyone has the same interest and desire, but we're all different, and that's okay.
Yeah. And for me, it was understanding what I learned about myself is that I can't always be the leader. I have to step back and be the follower or be the doer. And because running the different projects we have, I think you mentioned you're the planner. I'm the planner organizer. But you need other people. It takes a village. I mean, there's no way Princess Boutique could run with one person, or even vendor night. Everybody has a talent, and learning. I think the one thing I learned is look for the people with the talent and invite them on your committee. Handpick the people that can help you make that the best project.
Think about the Easter baskets that we did for years.
Yeah.
Denise, I really think about the organization that you'd have with that. But it took the whole club to assemble them or
Right.
collect donations, and then we would tack on donation collections to other events leading up to the Easter baskets in order
Right.
to produce over 100 of them. It's
Right,
a
so that's
great-
called multiplying the
Right.
projects, right? Because we use one project to fund another
Yep.
with different things.
I forgot about the Easter basket.
How could you forget about these?
I know. How
And the
could I
9/11, bet we do 9/11
Yeah.
baskets still.
Same concept. So what is the value of the committee in a project? Why are committees important?
Well, because nobody can do it alone. You got to have
That's
help.
true. Yeah.
And also, I think it's good to just have other perspective and run, different ideas about how to organize or plan something.
Yeah.
I think that have a lot of great collaborators in our group, and somebody will come up with an idea and be like, "Oh wow, I never thought of that." So I think that's
Yeah, new perspective, right?
Definitely.
Especially with projects that we've had going for a long time, having a new person say, "Have you ever tried this?" And then it gets even more traction or even bigger because of one small adjustment. Because Princess Boutique has had lots of adjustments over the years.
Oh, absolutely. Where we are today is built on 15 years of participation. Some members were part of Princess Boutique before juniors took on Princess Boutique, and so we've learned over the years to get to where we are today. It wasn't just overnight, so we've made small increments and small changes. It's financially difficult for us to actually make every change every year, and Princess Boutique also couldn't operate without the 70 to almost 100 volunteers outside of club
Right, from the community.
that come and help us, not even just day of, the day before, leading up to a collection. So
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Committee members sometimes aren't even club members. There are people in the community that just kind of support us in our projects and the things that we do in order to actually execute them. So regardless of what project we're doing, I think there's a lot of hands touching it, and it's not just one person.
There's always a place that somebody can help.
Yeah.
There's always something to do.
And I think within Princess Boutique, would you agree that there's subcommittees? Like there's several leaders that actually lead different parts of Princess Boutique.
Yes.
It's not like
it is not a one-man or two-man show. There's maybe a few that are sort of keeping track of a checklist of a calendar, sort of the space and logistical pieces, but that doesn't run Princess Boutique. That's
Right.
just the infrastructure. But there's committees on whether it's dresses, accessories, getting volunteers to participate, how do we take care of our volunteers day of, and then the connections with the schools, and then the follow-up back with the schools, and
Right.
working with Marlborough High School, and
it's a lot of moving
Organizing
parts.
volunteers that are coming in that day.
absolutely.
Right.
Leading up to the event and communication, whether again it's with the young women that are going to participate or the volunteers.
It was overwhelming to me. For me, Princess Boutique, I just show up that day. I could just be a shopper.
And we love that because we need those personal
I
shoppers.
just like that part.
Personal shoppers are actually the hardest group to get more of for Princess Boutique, because I think there's some anxiety around that. Some folks think I could never possibly help a 16 or 17 young girl or a young man that's actually also looking for a gown. And there really doesn't need to be. It's just someone, opening your heart and mind to having a conversation with a young person that needs something, and we're here to provide it, and walking around with them and guiding them to make sure they select something that is appropriate for them and fits them well. But other than that, it's a great way to volunteer.
They're so shy and quiet. It's really hard. It's really fun. I really enjoy that part. Just looking at our questions. Any advice on what you've learned from organizing any project or an event that you might have for a new committee member?
You're up on that one.
I don't know. Advice? I guess just being open to new ideas.
I like that one too. I think that would be my advice too.
Yeah.
I think one thing is to remember every event or program that we run or organize. Yes, we get something from it, but also to remember that we're providing opportunities for the community to meet each other. and to build these new relationships. If someone comes and participates in Trunk or Treat and they're at the same booth together and all of a sudden they meet each other. So two young mothers might be standing there. And the next thing you know, these two young mothers in Marlborough that had never made a connection decide, hey, well, let's get our children together and grab a cup of coffee on a Thursday morning because we're trying to meet more people. So it's more than just the event. It's the outcomes and the relationships that can come from the events.
I agree with that. I think anything you do in the nonprofit world, you're networking, whether it's within the club or even an extension outside the club. It's the ability to make human connection. And that's why we're all here, right? It's just to be connected to each other. What do we have coming up that we can share with the audience?
So we have two events that we are doing. One is on March 16th, which is the Princess Boutique itself. And so you can go to our website or the mwprincessboutique.com.
I think it's .com.
Yes, mwprincessboutique.com.
Yeah.
Or you can just go to our Facebook page and you can find information. So if you're interested in actually helping the day of or doing a donation, or would like to help us do a dress drive, on April 5th we have our trivia night, which will be held at the Elks. And so you can purchase tickets in advance and participate in that. What else do we have on the agenda?
Just the ongoing tree pickup we already mentioned.
There's a couple things in the works. We're working with, we're trying to collaborate to get anxiety, helping our children with anxiety in schools. And that is a sort of a town meeting panel discussion where, that's being worked on. What else do we have being worked on?
We will be doing the education essays. So again, if you have children that are in the school system, K through 12, we will be putting out the ability for them to honor a teacher. So write a short essay or a poem or draw a picture about your favorite teacher. And then we invite them to a meeting later in the spring to really, again, honor that teacher and that relationship.
And Family Fun Festival, where we are collaborating with other nonprofits in the community. We did last year, was our first one. It's coming back again this year. I missed the first meeting. I'm going to it next week. So I don't know all the details, but I do know that is in the works as well.
May 5th.
May 5th. Thank you, Elizabeth. Wow, I really appreciate you ladies joining me tonight just to sort of talk about the importance of committees and project development in a nonprofit. And we would encourage you, if you're interested in being part of the Marlborough Junior Women's Club, to check out our Facebook page or simply DM one of us or text one of us. We're happy to invite you into a meeting to see what we're all about. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It was fun.